Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you about not letting your emotions get the best of you and trusting that your team has you and learning how to ask your team for help. Seems like a lot of things, and it kind of is. But I had a couple of things happen to me recently that really reminded me of this lesson. And even I need reminding sometimes of what I preach, or even things that I have already learned. I still need reminding because, again, I'm only human, and my humanness shows more often sometimes than I would like it to. But it's one of those things that I'm a work in progress, and I'm always working on it and hoping to be a better person. So I thought I would share with you what happened to me. And the funny thing is that all happened in one day, which to me was definitely not a coincidence. For me, it's like when all those lessons come in at once, it's like the universe smacking me and trying to get my attention and being like, girl, wake up. You are blowing it. And that was kind of the day I had. It started off okay. It was a fine day. Good enough. No worries. I joked with one of my listeners, Ginger, this morning about how it was kind of hard to get out of bed because it was so warm in my bed, and my bed was comfy and cozy, and it was freezing outside and there was snow on the ground. But I got up, and then my day started off fine. I do what I normally do. Got to school early and, set the tone for my day, and everything was fine. But then as I ended my day, things started quickly kind of turning around. It was like it went from an okay day to all of a sudden everything's piling up on me. So I ordered some pictures for my kids, at Walgreens because they had a big photo sale. And I ordered them online, and the other day I went to pick them up in the store and they said, no, you can't pick them up. You have to have a release. And I'm like, what do you mean? It didn't say anything about that online. They're like, oh, yes, it did. Oh, yes. Basically treating me like I was too stupid to realize I needed one. If it had shown up in front of my face, I was too dumb to see it. And I told them, I said, listen, I ordered this online and I swear to you, it did not pop up with anything that said you need a release. If it did, why would they process the order? You should have to show that then. And I said, that's fine. I'm just saying I didn't see this. I didn't know I had to have one. So they made a big deal about it. They wouldn't give me the photos. And I was like, okay, fine. So today at work, I got online and I looked for a release. And I found one. It wasn't you had to actually do a search for it. I found it. I printed it. I'm like, okay, well, I hope this is all they need. And as I was printing it out and everything, I was saying, okay, angels, take care of this. This is going to be easy. They're not going to give me a fit about picking them up. This is going to be easy. So after school, also my daughter had a doctor's appointment. And it was the first time with this new doctor since, they're growing up and they have to now go to adult doctors. And I was running late. I was so running late because of a meeting after school, which ran late because administrators came in and it was we couldn't leave. So then we started running late for the appointment, and I thought, well, I better call and just let them know I'm running late, and hopefully it'll all work out. And she said, well, we'd really rather reschedule you, and we need these documents, which I didn't have. I'd forgotten about. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can get those documents. So I had to reschedule that. And I'm a big person where I'm not a big person. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is I am a person who gets extremely frustrated by feeling like my time is wasted. And I don't know if other people get that way, but I get super frustrated. If you tell me that we have to have a meeting and in that meeting only 5 minutes of real work is done and the rest of it's just sitting around doing nothing, I get super I could be doing 15,000 other things right now, you're wasting my time. That's how I am. Or if you're in a store and somebody is just being slow, that's one of the things that I really have to work on sometimes is being patient, because I can think of like 50 things that I need to be doing. And if I'm standing behind somebody and they're just going so slowly, it's just like I'm biting my tongue, right? Like just trying to not say anything, not be rude, not anything. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. And that's been something I really have had to work on too. And I have to say that I'm getting better, getting much, much better about it. That's where my human side comes out. So tonight, the doctor's appointment, they wanted to reschedule, and we were already on the way, but I was like, well, that's all right. I'll just turn around and I'll go try to pick up those pictures, and hopefully that'll work. And the whole time I'm saying to myself, angels, please take care of this. So I walk in and I ask for the photos, and I show her the release, and it literally took like 2 seconds. She's like, no problem, here you go, have a great day. Got the photos, no issues. And then I got home and I had missed a call, and it was from one of my credit card companies. I have a Victoria's Secret card, and I paid off the balance last month. I rarely use the card. I'll use it, when they have their mega sales or whatever, or every few months my daughter and I might go and we get ourselves some stuff. But I don't use it a lot. And I remembered that I had paid off the balance because when I pay my bills, I write down what the balances on each of my cards are, so I make sure I remember that I pay it off and what I need to pay the next month. Like, I'm pretty good about being on top of all of that. Well, this call was like, your card is past due. I'm like, what? So I get online and I check my account, and I had a $90 charge. Now, the original purchase on my credit card was not even $90. So I'm thinking, what in the world? Like, I'm going through all these scenarios, like somebody got my card, they put a purchase on there. Well, I look at the bill and it's late fees. They've got all these late fees assessed on my card that totaled $90, which the fact that late fees could end up being more than the original purchase, that should be illegal. That blows my mind. But I never got any notices that I had late fees before. So I called the company, and this is again where my humanness and my patience were being tested extremely. I called, and of course I got a call center, so it was hard to understand the person I was talking to. And that's frustrating in and of itself, because if you really want good customer service, you really need to have somebody who can speak the language and be understood. That should just be a requirement for any country you're doing business in. If a country was going to do business in Germany, they would need to speak German. You know what I mean? It's just good customer service. And that's frustrating too, that all these companies have tried to save money by sending jobs overseas. That is another thing that should never have been allowed. But anyway, so I talked to someone, and he was a nice person, but I was having a hard time understanding him. And I was trying to explain my situation, and I said, I should not have a balance because I paid off my balance. And he said, well, you paid it 2 days late. And I said, well, I didn't know it was 2 days late. And in my experience, generally speaking, most credit card companies do give you like a couple of day grace period, and that's never been an issue before. I've never had a credit card company, charge a late fee like that for like 2 days being late, especially if you've always made payments. So I thought, well, that was weird, and he said, well, I'll take off $35 of the late fee if you pay the rest of it in full. And I said, but I don't owe anything because I paid off my balance, so how can I have $90 in late fees? Like, that would still leave like $60 in late fees, which again, I think $60 was more than the original purchase that I made. And at this point, I was getting super frustrated. And to me, it wasn't even about the money. Yes, it's Christmas, and I'm a single mom, and paying $90 I don't have would have sucked, but I would have done it. But it was more about the principle at this point. Like, I'm one of those people, and it's the principle of the matter, that's just me. And I was like, if they've done this to me, who else have they done this to? And I was trying to explain to him, look, I've never missed a payment. Like, I've faithfully made a payment every month and even paid off my balance. So I'm being punished for that. And he said, well, I said, I want to talk to a supervisor, please. Because I thought, maybe if I talk to someone and explain it, because I wasn't really getting anywhere with him. And so I got transferred to a supervisor, and I tried to again calmly explain what had happened. And I said, that was my first late fee. And she said, "You've had 3 late fees. You were late every month," got very snippy with me. And I said, "Excuse me? Like, I was not even aware of this." She said, "Every month your bill is due on the 11th and you paid it on the 13th every month." So every month I was 2 days late, which was on my part, just, I guess, a misunderstanding. It comes down to me changing the way that my bills get paid, because I went from being paid once a month to being paid twice a month. And so when I was paid once a month, all my bills came out on the same date. And then I had to change that because obviously that doesn't work anymore. So when I did that, I just started breaking up which bills I would pay. And the last time I had paid that bill, I thought it was around the 20th. So I paid it, I thought, a little earlier. Well, I guess it was not earlier, it was later. I don't know. So I got confused about the date. Now, I still never missed a payment, and the payment was 2 days late every month. And I paid off the balance. And they did not add the late fees. Like, I would have noticed the first late fee had they added it after the first month. But I didn't notice anything. It was like all of these late fees got added at the same time. And I was like, this is suspicious. This was really weird. And most credit cards, like I said, will give you a grace period if you're making payments, when you want somebody to not make payments or you want them to make payments, So I was starting to get frustrated, and then she said to me, "Well, I will take off one of the late fees, but you really have to start being responsible." And that just hit me the wrong way. I got so mad when she said that. And I thought to myself, okay, lady, I'm a single mom who works full-time and owns a business on the side and makes sure that everything is taken care of here at my house, and I don't miss payments, and I have a really, really good credit score, which you would see if you bothered to look. And I'm thinking to myself, I was so mad, and you called me irresponsible, really? Thinking about all of the people who probably never make their payments or, whatever. It just hit me the wrong way, and I took it so personally, and I got so offended. I was so mad. And I have to say that I did not hold my temper. She got an earful from me, and I felt bad about it afterwards. And I've talked to you guys so many times about not sending out a ripple effect of negativity, and I'm afraid that I did that today. But when she said that, that was that human side of me that was just like, no, you did not. And I was just so mad that she said that. It was really a trigger for me. It really was. And I realized that it was immediately after it happened. I was fuming. I was going to post everything on social media about how bad this company was. The whole typical 9 yards of, when you get mad. And when you get to that level of that emotional frustration, you can't think logically. And that's kind of where I was. And then I had to take a breath and I had to dial it down a bit. And I really realized at that moment, oh my gosh, I started to feel bad. I was like, I just yelled at her and she doesn't have a bad night. And even though she was rude to me, it wasn't really it wasn't worth being rude back. That's not who I am. That's not what I want to represent. So I took a deep breath and I just said, okay, angels, please help me take care of this. Okay, please get me to somebody who can help me, and I'm not going to lose my temper. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to call back. So I called back and I got another person in the service center, and I said, listen, here's what happened. I called earlier and they said they would take 1 service fee off if I pay the rest. And I said, I want to do that, and then I want to close my account. And, I was like, I don't want to keep this account open because, I'm not going to chance this happening again. And I don't go to the store enough that it's worth, I don't have to use a store credit card there. I can just use my own. I can use a different card if I shop there. It's not worth having all of these late fees. So the lady said, okay, thank you for doing that. And she took off the fee and she said, okay, then you owe $50. And I said, okay. So yeah, as you can tell, one late fee was way more than the other. But anyway, they took off $35 and I paid the $50 or whatever. And then she said, okay, I'm going to transfer you to customer service so you can close your account. And I said, okay. So they transferred me to customer service, and this really, really sweet person answered the phone. And I said, I'd like to close my account. And she said, oh, well, do you mind me asking why you're closing your account? And I said, sure. And I explained everything that had happened, and, calmly. And I think I was close to tears. And, I just said, look, I just very calmly told her what happened. And, like I said, I was kind of close to tears because that comment about you need to be responsible kind of still, like, that was a trigger for me. It really just was. And I think it just, like, me thinking about all of the things that I am responsible for, it was like I almost felt an emotional breakdown. Like, how can I be even more responsible? I've got so much going on, and what do they expect? And so in explaining it to her, I kind of got a little teary, and I was trying not to. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. And she said, I totally understand. And she said, you know what, if I waive the rest of that fee, will you please keep your account open? And I said, yeah, I wasn't trying to get out of paying anything, but if you look at my account, I make regular payments. I'm not a derelict person. And, I always take care of things I'm responsible for. It's not about that. It was about the fact that, I was 2 days late, and I said I never even thought about it because most credit card companies will just, as long as it got there, they're okay with that. It's not unless it's really late that they start adding fees. And she said, yeah. She said, well, maybe you can just set a reminder. Maybe you go to paper billing instead of paperless. I said, no, I can figure it out. I'll just have to remember. But she was super sweet. And she said, well, I hope you have a happy holidays. And I felt much better after having been on the phone with her. And what it really reminded me of today is several things. I learned several lessons today. Number one, we can ask our team for help at any time. So if you feel yourself starting to get to that place where you're like, oh, I'm about to lose it, take a breath and ask your team for help. And seriously, like, I feel this way every time I talk to AT&T. It's so frustrating. Like, I'll have to hang up and call, like, get my composure and call back because I feel like every time I call them, I have to tell the same story 50 times, and it just gets frustrating. So I just get to the point now where before I even call, I'm just like, please, angels, help me get to the right person who will be able to help me so I don't have to tell this story 50 times and waste my time. And I find that every time I ask for help, I always get sent to the right people. And it's amazing because you can go through 50 of the wrong people who cannot do a thing to help you. And then you just happen to get a hold of the right person who's like, I can take care of everything for you in 2 seconds and you're going to leave happy. And why couldn't anybody else do that, So it's important that we ask our team for help because seriously, just getting us to the right people sometimes, that is a huge help. But if you allow yourself to be triggered and to get to that point where you're emotional and, it's the holiday seasons, it's stressful, everyone's stressed. And it's understandable that your emotions would be heightened, but it does not do any good at all to let somebody who's in a service center across the seas or a supervisor who probably hates her job anyway get to you. It's not worth that. It's not worth robbing you of your personal peace, of anything. And I know I'm not the only person out there who's had stories like this. I'm sure you're probably all thinking of your own stories of having to deal with customer service or whatever. My point is, we have to remember that we have an entire spiritual team who's out there to help us. And anytime we stop and ask for help, they can in amazing ways too. Like tonight, I could have called back and gotten a hold of another person who couldn't help me. But that wasn't what happened. I was not expecting them to totally waive the fees. All I wanted was, for them to work with me. And they did more than that in the end, which was good customer service because I was ready to protest and everything else. And, the things they had done before that were not good customer service. But like I said, you really can end up having to talk to 50 people, but if you stop and just say, okay, angels, please help me take care of this. It's crazy what happens, but most of the time we try to handle everything on our own and we don't even ask for help. And there's so many times where we could just stop and ask for help and we don't do it. And I find that the times that I realize that, and I think today was such a huge lesson for me in ask for help. Ask for help. We're here. And I know some of my listeners have posted before on Facebook how they have a hard time asking for help, and I get it. Most of the time, I think I try to be like Atlas. I try to carry the world on my shoulders, and I try to do it all. And oftentimes, I end up being very humbly reminded that I cannot do it all, and that I need help, and I need others to help me, and I need to ask for help. So that was a huge reminder for me today that I need to ask my team for help. I need to stop trying to do it all by myself. I just end up making things harder when I do that. When I would realize that, hey, if you ask for help, you'll get it, life would be so much easier for me. So I need to be better about stopping and asking when I start to get frustrated. Before I even get frustrated, because you don't even want to get to the point where you're frustrated or that you're triggered, And a trigger, really, honestly, when we come across those, that's a message to us. That's a lesson somewhere and something that needs to be healed. And for me, I sometimes feel like in my life, there are things that maybe I don't do adequately enough. And sometimes that's parenting and sometimes it's teaching. I still have doubts about myself sometimes, even though I'm teaching you all you shouldn't. I still do sometimes. That's still a thing for me that I still am working through. And I still have to tell myself, quit doubting yourself. You're good enough. You are good enough. Don't let some person who doesn't even know you tell you to be responsible. Like, how stupid is that made me mad and that got to me? But it was an awareness for me that I still need to realize that I'm enough and that I'm capable and that I'm doing a good job. And I should not worry what other people are telling me or saying, because that does not matter. Other people's opinions of me do not define me. And it doesn't matter what they think anyway. And I thought for the most part I was beyond that. But that little lesson showed up for me. I still have a little work to do in that area, which I say I'm always a work in progress. So I'm willing to do the work on myself. So think about next time when you get triggered, what's that trying to tell you? What lesson are you still needing to learn? And are you still needing to learn how to ask your team for help? Remember, when we get emotional and we react emotionally to something that is beyond our control, we can't think logically. We really can't. And had I let myself get to the point that I was beyond control emotionally, I wouldn't have thought to calm down, ask my team for help, and to call back again and just see where it went. And in doing so, I was able to completely get that taken care of. That would not have happened had I not calmed down. And I don't want to react emotionally and make someone else's night miserable. Just because they were rude to me, it doesn't give me the right to be rude back. So that could all be prevented had I, just said, what, I'm going to call back and talk to someone else because I don't want to talk to you. But it all worked out great, and it was a great lesson. And I wanted to share that with you because, number one, it shows you that I am right there in the trenches with you. I know what you're going through because I'm right there with you. I am still learning those lessons. I am still trying to improve myself daily. I still fall short sometimes, but I'm better than I used to be. And things are working out for me so much better because I am taking those lessons and because I am learning how to ask for help and how to remain calm in times where I want to blow up. I'm not doing that anymore. I did it a little bit today, but I totally calmed myself down regrouped, asked for help, and then was able to solve the problem. So if you learn anything from me, it's don't allow yourself to get to that point where you're ready to explode. Just calm down, take a breath. If you need to hang up and try again with someone else, do it. I mean, sometimes it really is that the person you're talking to is completely incompetent and you need to talk to somebody else. And I'm sorry, there I said it, but think about it. People don't always know how to do their jobs. We know that. We work with these people. We've been these people before at jobs we weren't really experienced in. So take a breath, ask your team for help, and ask them to get you to the right person. All right, guys. Well, I wanted to pull a card for you today, and the card I pulled is from the Archangel Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue, and it's Gentleness. Archangel Sandalphon. Be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. And I love that, and I think we really do need to do that, especially around the holidays. It's important that we take time out to rest and recuperate and just be around people who make you feel good, I love laughing and having a good time, and so when I can be around my friends and family who make me laugh, that's the best. And to me, that's like a really big form of recuperating, is just kind of unplugging from the world and visiting with my friends and family and enjoying their company. So do what you need to do to bring yourself back to balance and to take care of yourself at this time. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. If you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please subscribe. That helps others find me. I am going to be selecting a winner for those of you that already shared my podcast. I had that contest going on, and the winner will be receiving a free coaching session. So I will be drawing one winner, and I will be posting it, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for all of those of you that participated. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live on Facebook at 5:30 Central on Mondays, and I post videos, readings on Instagram, so follow me there. And also, if you want to work with me and let me help you figure out how to get balance in your life and how not to react to everything emotionally, you can work with me. I do coaching sessions, Reiki, past life regressions, and readings. You can go to my website, melissaoatman.com, to check out all of the services that I offer and the pricing. I offer packages as well. And when you're ready to book, you can simply contact me. All of my contact information is in the description to the podcast. I don't care how you get a hold of me. Any way is perfect. If you don't know what you want, but you want to work with me, just contact me. People do that all the time, and then we figure out what would be best for them. So, and you don't have to worry about me trying to sell you the most important, expensive package. I don't do that. I just try to see what you really would benefit the most from. So I would love to work with you, so contact me. And as always, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.